Hey everybody, welcome back to our Sun Face Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here watching some jobless reincarnation. We got some comments here today, so let's see what people got to say. We got Kelvin Cawthon from the Patreon, or no, University of Magic, saying, "One day Griffin will read my name right, but if not, I'll just have to change my name to Kevin for him. I'm so sorry. You've been assigned Kevin now. I do think I got Kelvin right, though, on the first try today. On Theta, thinking Rudy was 15 when him and Eris did the deed. It was mentioned that Eris just turned 15 at the time, so that's where Theta's confusion might have come from. However, since he doubts me, I shall put on my actually glasses for this one. Rudeus was 12 when Eris and him had sex. Eris just turned 15 nearing the end of their journey from the demon continent, so she was considered an adult in this world. Theta, still calling him Mister, even though you're holding his panties. The big ape girl said those were Ariel's panties. Fitz acts as a bodyguard slash servant, so he does Ariel's laundry as well. In case you didn't notice, everyone has been referring to Fitz as him. Everyone thinks Fitz is just an effeminate male. It's part of Sylvie's disguise slash persona that Ariel made for her. There's a reason for it, but I can't remember why exactly, and I believe it's mentioned later on anyways, so we'll find out soon enough. Any thoughts about that, Theta? Sorry, you're just like, you're looking off into this, so I gotta refocus you.
Well, no, you were reading. You had the talking stick, as it were.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
no thoughts in that head.
if I had a counter to it, once again, transparency, as we said before, in the Jujutsu Kaisen reactions. It's been about 2 weeks since we last watched an episode, for
Mhm.
reasons. So my thoughts are kind of distant from what they were when this was. So I probably had a defense. I don't know what it was anymore. The only thing I got is still calling him Mister, even though you're holding his panties. I have a problem with presentation. I guess I understand that it's the respectful thing to do is to call somebody by the pronouns that they desire to be called. Um, but and I have always have the problem of I automatically, without thinking, just go by how someone displays themselves. So if you're outwardly displaying, yet call yourself a different pronoun, my brain just, the elasticity
Mhm.
of the brain isn't there anymore. So it's just, I
If
was,
if I were to draw a point back though, I think this is more just the incredulity at like Rudeus being completely blind to who Sylvie is, right?
well, no, the incredulity here is that I called him out for calling Sophie a him, and then called him a
Mhm.
him in the same sentence.
Yeah,
Or as
yeah.
I just did now, called her a him in the same sentence. That's the point
Right,
of
right.
that.
Yeah. So Rudeus is being a big dummy, I think. But hey, he's not thinking about it. Our next comment though is Contiduin from Abrupt Approach. In the light novel, Eris takes Rudy's underwear while she left her underwear with him. When they were traveling together, Eris found out Rudy is sniffing her panties and volunteers to wash their clothes instead. A while later, Rudy saw her sniffing his underwear, so Eris also has the hots for Rudy smell. Eris just took his underwear as the mementos. That also makes the burning of Eris's hair actually the burning of Eris's panties. I like the details because it made a point that the panties that Rudeus is a memento, more than a sexual object. He burnt Eris, but not Roxy's, because one gave him pain and the other one gave him courage. What are your thoughts on that?
You understand why you have the floor. You can give your thoughts first.
I know, but I'm also just trying to warm up my brain today. I gotta have something to bounce on.
I feel like it's an
And I just
awkward.
finished reading,
It's
so.
an awkward transition to just hand off. Be the news pundit, right? The news
Mhm.
pundit who voices his opinion while reading the news.
But yeah, no, I guess when it comes to Roxy, at this point, Rudy hasn't interacted with her in like almost 10 years at this point, and only has fond memories of like childhood tutelage at this point. There's no bad things to remember about Roxy, but of course, he literally just had the
I think
split with
you're,
Eris,
I think you're
so
saying what? Am I?
I'm confirming what was at the end. It's like, yeah, no, there's
No, no,
no.
sorry. I was doing something in my head, and what I was doing in my head was wrong.
You gotta
Sorry.
say it out loud too.
No, I don't need to prove that I was wrong. I already said I was wrong. You don't need to know what the wrongness was.
But yeah, I guess it's also kind of interesting seeing the characters pick up traits from each other. I mean, that is just a thing that happens that people do, but like
Is it
it's
Griff?
funny seeing it in the context of Rudeus bringing in a thing from another
Is
world.
it Griff? When's the last time you did that?
Uh I think for the past several years I've been
Cut
imitating the
sentence.
hello of a dead YouTuber. So, yeah, no, I've been influenced by other people.
Not what I was implying. And I feel like there's a real clever edit to be made there. When's the last time you were sniffing panties, Griff? For the last several years, I was. Cut sentence.
All right. So I think with that, let's go ahead and go into the recap here and get our minds back into the show here. Last time was Renoa University of Magic, where following the man god's advice, Rudeus enrolls in school. He reunites with an old friend and meets potential new enemies. But will he find what he seeks? And what does the future hold for him in the enigmatic Silent Fits? Oh, that's as boilerplate as possible.
Not a spoiler.
Theta,
I mean, literally, we capped that last episode.
but what about more specifics? I think he met his homeroom class, which included the kid we keep making fun of, who is like Rudeus and After
You
Eris.
keep making fun of. I don't do
Yeah.
anything to him.
We got his friend who is super strength, who happens to be there studying. We have at least one cat girl, and then I think one other character that I don't remember off the top of my head for his homeroom. I think were there any other characters involved there?
I think what you probably. Oh, don't hit copy all. That's a bad thing to do.
What?
I think what you probably need is one of those kind of reminders.
Ah, yes, the concept board. Let's go ahead and get some actual names on that real quick. And while it is loading, I'm going to go ahead and stretch my voice. All right. Man. There's a lot of stuff to load. Oh, it's actually in two big lines. I forgot.
Well, it's multiple lines.
Oh dear, it is definitely taking some time to load the pictures here.
I mean, not for me. I mean,
Let's
I literally
see.
just loaded it up too. I didn't even think about bringing this up, but you're going over characters and whatnot.
There we go. Uh, Zanoba Sharon, who is the super strong character that worships Rudeus a little bit as master sculptor. Let's see who else we got here. I think Linnea del Dedoldia is the other one
Yeah,
who's there.
sure. Kevin will appreciate that name reading.
I mean, look, these names are hard. They're made up.
Well, I think you'll find, Griffin, that all names are made up.
That is true. We should just stop using them, and we should refer to each other by the total amount of energy we possess. There we go. We have Cliff Grimoire. Yeah, there we go. Cliff. I'm so ready for Cliff to start some drama. But yet he hasn't, so I'm wondering where that's gonna go. And was there a fourth character, Theta?
Yes.
Do you remember who that might have
I
been?
mean, you were already on that side of the board.
All right, so I have a 50
You're no,
of
you're
the
on the wrong.
cast then.
For one, I'll give you two hints. One, you're on the wrong side of the board again. Don't look for my mouse. My mouse isn't even over there. I'm zoomed out. I'll give you your second hint. Cat girl.
I mean, I
Or
just named
beast
them, I thought.
person. Or beast person.
Is it Persenia Aldolia? Was that the last home, remember?
Yeah, literally the one right next to him. Who would have guessed? Wearing also the same uniform.
You could have been less enigmatic about it, but
I could not be. I
so we
cannot
have
be
our
less
homeroom
enigmatic.
class. We also have our princess hanging out there. Let me go and make sure I get her name right. She definitely is here, and I swear I saw her just moments ago. Where'd she go?
Well,
Where
you could
is
probably
our
track
prince?
her down by her bodyguards if you remember them too.
There we
Or her
go.
brothers.
Ariel Anemonia Asura, who is there with, of course, Sylphie masquerading as Fitz. And then we also had a relationship to Rudy, who was there. It's not her Jerd, no. Is it over here? There was another greyrat. Where are you? Rudeus has 17 lines. Where did they go? Paul, Zenith, Norn.
Well, this one is not connected to Rudeus, but it is connected through to Rudeus. So you could figure that one out. Thankfully, it's such a tight fit that I can fit it all on screen. So the viewers are seeing what it is.
How dare you mock me and my ability to search for this?
Well,
It's
you
not.
know it's a gray rat.
Oh,
Just follow the freaking gray rats.
wait, is it Luke? No, he doesn't look sassy enough. It's not Luke Greyrat, is it?
What do you think the connection is?
I guess the connection is through Paul. So, Paul, do you have any more here? No, I think that's it. Yeah, it has to be Luke Greyrat.
Which you can connect to Paul.
Yeah.
Literally, Luke Noto's gray rat is connected to Philemon Noto's gray rat, who is a cousin of Paul Gray Rat, who then connects to Rudeus Gray Rat.
Right. So we have at least three angles of drama here, just in the cast that is sitting around. So I'm pretty ready for that. Last time we also had, I think, as we briefly covered in the comments, the event where Rudeus ends up like walking through the girls' area of the dorms or like the college and gets called out for it and saved by Fitz. So he's now on track to be friends with Fitz without realizing who Fitz actually is. And that, I guess, is our fourth cornerstone of drama here.
No, sorry, I just had a little laugh in my head. I was, wishing that Fitz had taken the first name Benny, so he could be friends with Benny Fitz.
If only they knew. So, Theta, I got the four corners of drama here, and I think the best thing to do is ask you, which one are you excited for?
I
Which
guess
character drama are you most interested in going forward here?
I think I'm gonna take your question and just carry it on over to the Theta's Thoughts section because
Okay.
I think we have actually a pentagram of drama, and you didn't cover one of them
Ooh, very good then. So, let's go ahead and go on to Theta's thoughts.
because I had actually written something about one of those corners that I thought anyway, which I guess would indicate to me which one I'm more excited about. But once again, I wrote these Theta thoughts 2 weeks ago after a week of having watched the show, which means I am 3 weeks separated from what my thoughts were at the time.
Hell yeah.
Um, Before we get to that point of drama, though, I just want to read my first thought here, which is more of a comedy bit.
Go for it.
I feel I'd be remiss for having made fun of Natalie Badgirl's name in Gundam Seed and not point out the fact that the first teacher Rudy meets is effectively named Genius Half-Ass.
I almost feel like that's intentional.
Well, it has to
Completely
be.
intentional. Good catch though. I didn't catch it.
Alright, the drama bit then. I'm glad we finally addressed whatever is going on with Elenice. Did I say her name right? Elenice?
That sounds
No.
right.
Annalise, I think it is. Hey. Though I don't know
Oh
if I'm
yeah.
100% with the way they've decided to go. I'm completely down with the sexual positivity note that we've got. So if she just wanted to be a horny girl that liked sex, that's fine. I don't know that we made any judgments about it beyond laughing at everyone else's discomfort at walking in on her, or how easy she got her way around a group of horny men.
Hmm.
Making it a curse seems kind of, I don't know, something else. When it was just her embracing her own desires, that was a motivation driven by her own wants and needs. Self empowering, if you will. The
Hmm.
curse is an outside motivation, something done to her, and while not expressly indicated, possibly against her will. If she doesn't want to have all the sex that she's having, but has to in order to survive, that has some dark and unpleasant implications for what might
Hmm.
have just been a sex positive character.
Right. It really does like completely flip the characterization on its head. Though at the same time, I'm thinking back to like one of the Metal Gear games where just like, oh no, they have to wear skimpy outfits, otherwise they can't breathe through their skin. It's like the author wrote this. He could have chosen anything. When I think about like why these things are and what to think about them, I kind of like pull back a little bit.
I do think there is a stark difference between the two things we've just equated.
That is true. Kojima is just horny. That's perfectly fine.
Well, I
Here, I
mean,
think we are actually going somewhere and might have a point.
well, I mean, one justifies skimpy fashion, right? I don't think
Yeah.
anybody is hurt. Like your ego might be hurt. You might there might be a degree of embarrassment to
It's
that.
more the object creation of an objectified person, I
But well,
guess.
I mean, my point is that with if you're being forced to wear skimpy clothes in order for you to survive or something like that, you can
Uh-huh.
choose not to go somewhere. Whereas objectively, trying to explain she has to get raped all the time or she'll die, you can't avoid that. There's no stay home thing level to
Right. This
that.
this is why the pullback perspective is important because you could always go, the author could have just not written that.
Well, like I said, there's a difference between her sex positivity, blah,
Hmm.
uh, her choosing to do this because she just likes it, and it's like, okay, well, that's fine. Versus,
Hmm.
I'm gonna make you have to do this, which is
Right.
again explicitly God rape, I guess.
Yeah, which weird, right? Still, the show's done a lot of good stuff. It's built up a lot of goodwill. I completely trust it to like go somewhere good with all of this and not just make it like some weird thing. So I'm down to see like where we go with this, how people feel, like develop a fun story.
That's why I framed it in the form of a question, since I
Hmm.
don't know the end run here.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it could be both, right? She could be both sex positive and down to clown, right?
yeah.
It doesn't have to be one way or the other. It just I don't know yet. So the
Hmm.
it started from okay, so she's just like that, whatever, it's her choice, and then it ended up with him explaining it last episode. Oh, she's cursed. She has to do this
Yeah.
or she'll die, and it's like, well, that puts a really harsh tone to that. That is
Yeah, I
now
mean, this is just
uncomfortable.
me expressing my fear that like this is going to be the deal breaker. This is the point where like this thing that is great becomes like suddenly too unpalatable to like continue, right? It's like that's always the fear when you go into these things.
So I mean,
But again,
I think
the show's good. It's built up with goodwill.
become pretty open to this. Like we have never
Mhm.
complained about Rudeus's perversions. We just laugh at it and move on, right?
We
It's like
we've come in with the expectation of that. We had a baseline expectation, so we're willing to take a good bit.
yeah, so finding a bunch of pervy girls in the mix isn't gonna ruin it
Yeah.
for us. It's the act of now now doing the Sword Art Online turn. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
this was unnecessary the first four times. I'm not sure I can handle a fifth.
So could say, "Oh, Sword Art Online is a bit unnecessary," but
Well,
we'll
no.
save that for when we get to
To
it.
be fair, at least one of them was narratively important to indicate the difference between the tiers of society and how
Mhm.
actually downtrodden certain people in the realm were. The
Right.
rest of it was wholly unimportant and unnecessary. Narratively, I like Sword Art Online, or I did before I finally couldn't take it anymore.
So, like Sword Art Online, let's skip 6 months and go to the next part of your Theta thoughts.
Sorry, the thought just occurred to me, could I make a filibuster that was 6 months long? And it's like, no, I don't want to push the next episode out 6 months so I could take 6 months to do one. I could make an AI one.
AI, generate me a monologue that'll last 6 months.
Well, no, I mean, like, it would take me 6 months to make a 6 month monologue, but it would take an AI, like an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
Renoa really has that fantasy MMO magic location feel. The floating blue gems used as light sources makes me think back to any number of old school games, or even more modern ones. I believe that's a staple of Final Fantasy these days. And when I wrote that,
Mhm.
Final Fantasy Rebirth had not come out yet, so I was more indicating Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah, I could definitely say like there's little bits of design that are cribbed around. I think the floating crystal stuff is definitely like an easy way to make stuff like look magical without having to say too much or world build a whole lot.
Uh,
They're just magic crystals. They're just there. You don't need much of an
I
explanation for that,
appreciate
really.
that our break was one that was so long that I wrote something indicating one Final Fantasy game and then had to
Uh-huh.
clarify that I did not mean the new Final Fantasy game that came out.
Ah, gosh, there's a whole part two I got to go see how people are reacting to at some point.
Oh, I'm still watching them, but nobody's gotten past just getting out of calm.
Hmm.
It's kind of funny that they have Rudy display his abilities in a test against Fitz. On one hand, Fitz is a silent caster and a bodyguard for a princess, so having a random person duel them would seem like a unfair mismatch on the surface to any random student. On the other hand, Fitz is also the one that told everyone about Rudy and why he should be sent a letter of invitation. Fitz is in a lose-lose situation here. If Rudy beats them, their status as an effective bodyguard goes down in a lot of people's eyes. If they beat Rudy, all the work that they took to get them here goes down the drain, as does the school's estimation of their ability to measure other people's value.
I think there is a way out though, and it's that Rudy is here because he's famous and supposed to be really good. So if Rudius ends up beating a bodyguard, everyone goes, well, of course the bodyguard lost to the really cool dude who just showed up, who's supposed to be really powerful. That doesn't feel like a loss of reputation. That feels like a we expected you to take the L kind of thing in post thought. That would be my thoughts anyway. Then again, that people aren't fair.
Yeah, yeah, Griff. But to be fair to the entire situation, I'd assume that in this sort of scenario, you're also
Uh-huh.
the one being shouted at nerd that a lot. So I don't
Oh
think
yeah.
people are coming to you for your estimation on the cool
I'm the person
bodyguard.
who goes to the magical college that only like 20 people are in, and I get called the nerd. Yeah, no, that's me. That's exactly me. You got
Yeah,
it.
no, I mean, I expect you would be told what happened while you're sitting in the library with a stack of books around you because everybody
Uh,
else was at the sports event and you were still, studying. So I assume this is the situation that would happen. At the same time, though, I believe that the bodyguard is expected to do the fighting bit better
mhm,
than most other people. So, again, I see it as a lose lose. Either you win, in which
mhm.
case your whole argument for, hey, Rudius is super cool, he should be here, goes down the drain, or you get your ass kicked, and everyone's estimation of your ability to protect people goes down because they just saw you get your ass kicked.
I guess it was also interesting thinking about it in a slightly other term, which is Sylph can totally just hold her ground against Rudius.
She can't, clearly. We just got shown that.
She lost at the end, but she's still like somewhere in league.
She lost from the very get go. What are you talking about? She was confused about his anti magic ability, and then expressed it openly, which can't be helpful to her cause.
All right, fair, fair. Reading is my sport. So, what else is your thought? What else you got?
Do you imagine that when Zenoba was referring to Miss Silent in their homeroom class, that he was actually referring to Silent Fitz, and that this is eventually going to be how Rudeus discovers that Fitz is a woman after treating him like a guy for so long? The only reason I would think not is that Zenoba references Silent Fitz later and calls them a he.
That could either be a writing error or it could be a character hint. You might be onto something. If other people have just realized it and then just not said anything, but keep getting confused every now and then themselves, that could be a funny way into like discovering it.
Well, people have been rallying against us in the comment section lately about what are these shit subtitles y'all are using. This doesn't make any fucking sense. And I'm like,
Ah,
well,
there we go.
you
Yeah.
don't agree with them immediately, Griff. They make perfect sense. We've been watching them for a season and almost a half now, and we've understood everything that was going on.
Look, you should have just been watching and listening in the original Japanese and understanding the entire language, you know? You should have just been doing that.
To be fair, Griff, we have been watching and listening to the original Japanese. That doesn't change anything that we've been doing.
Oh, yeah, that kind of false slap there. Let me go ahead and pull up my Duolingo real quick. All right,
I
what
did
else you
that. I
got?
literally did have the thought this morning about, maybe I should like try and stream myself trying to learn Japanese. That way, if anyone just happens to come along because they
Yeah,
had any interest in learning Japanese themselves, they could like help in the chat or something. Just a
yeah, that could
active,
be music.
yeah. Well, I'm not amusing, just be helpful. Right?
Yeah,
A little bit of back and forth. We learn together. On the subject of Fitz, it seems Sylvie has already told everyone in her inner circle about Rudy, either when he arrived or she's been talking about him ever since she met him. She met them, rather.
hmm
Either way, when Luke shows up and says, "You're Fitz's," and doesn't finish, but calls him quite forgetful and seems somewhat upset at him, I think I think at the time we were taking in the fact that Luke was also a greyrat and addressing his lineage via his uncle,
hmm
and may have linked those two elements together, rather than the fact that he's a friend of Sylphie's as well, giving Rudy a very minor hint that he should know who Fitz is.
yeah. Oh gosh, I I think my interpretation right now is not Fitz like spilling literally everything to everyone all the time, but I think like given the amount of time they've been with other people, it's probably come up amongst the inner circle. It's like, yeah, I knew him, like him. Well, he'll be around here soon.
Well, no,
They probably got the gist of it, is what I think. I don't think they have the full story.
no, that's what I said. I didn't say everyone all the time. I said the inner circle,
Yeah, yeah,
which would be Luke and the princess, who know
yeah, yeah.
that Fitz is a woman and know who Rudy is in
hmm
association with Sylphie.
Yeah. So let's see. Not much more contest there. What else you got?
One last confusion. In the subtitles at the end, Rudy says he will call Fitz Mr. Fitz as a sign of respect.
hmm
Except in the audio, you can hear him say Fitz Senpai instead. Senpai is not a gendered word, so while Rudy is showing respect by acknowledging Fitz as someone with more expertise than him, he's
hmm
not calling him Mr., which seems like the entire point of the gender mix-up scenario.
I I can see why, if you translate it, that's what you would choose to do, and it would make sense. But yeah, like the senpai teacher kind of deal isn't gendered in this case. But it's still the same sign of respect. I guess that's the same tone, the same idea, right? I don't see these two as being like contradictory at least, or like opposed in any way. You're staring at me like you don't know what to say.
No, because I don't know. I don't know if I'm agreeing with 3-week-old me or not.
Yeah, gotta consider the old you
Well,
here.
no, it's because I'm realizing after I read it that the senpai part might just be not the Mister in the sense of not the Mister in the sense of gendered, because again, I've already covered senpai itself is not a gendered term, but it might be the difference between saying regarding them as a male and
Hmm.
Mister as in child to elder sort of thing.
Yeah.
And Mister just happens to be the term instead of Mrs. You know, it could have been either, but the fact that he thinks that they're a man just means that he
Hmm.
chose Mister over Mrs. And it's just one of
I.
those weird
Mhm.
effects of Japanese culture that I think we covered in Jujutsu Kaisen, one of the episodes we did yesterday. That
Yeah,
we
we did a
talked
little bit
about
of
that
that.
there's like there is a number of idiosyncrasies in Japanese culture that
Mhm.
we would not understand if we were just given a single word out of context.
Right, and here we have a rabbit hole like that intersecting with the same rabbit hole over here in English. Like, what does it mean to call someone Mister suddenly?
Well, I mean, yeah, like
So
on
we
our
got a lot to
side,
think about here. I don't think we're gonna just go through all of it
well,
today.
no, I mean on our side, we recognize that in the text given, the word "Mister" was never said, but
Hmm.
you can put together a number again of Japanese idiosyncrasies in their language and how they treat one another that you
Hmm.
could pull why Mister was used. So it's like literally unwritten, but understood through context.
This is where I'm probably gonna have to go ahead and quote Wittgenstein again, and it's like it's all a game. We're figuring out the rules together.
Well, no, it's not. It's not even that. We're not figuring out the rules together. The rules are already written, and the other side knows them, and we don't, and we're
And we
figuring
have
it
a
out.
whole bunch of rules, and they don't know it.
Yeah,
And then
but
someone in between has to figure out how those two games work together.
actually, I don't think it works the same way. I don't think that a lot of our shit gets like put over there and kept in English. That's
Hmm.
like why they have Japanese Spider-Man and they have Japanese Iron Man, because they just fucking get the shit remade over there.
That's one solution to translation. Don't bother. Yeah. All right. So I think that was the last thought, I think, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, I guess I'll die.
Okay. No more thoughts, head empty. I say this is a good point to go ahead and go straight into this and get watching. But before we do, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed that algorithm. On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can go and follow us over on Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but no pressure. It's all to support the channel, just a little bit extra.
Click the link down below, join the Discord. Head empty, no thoughts, dead.
Back to the morning stretches.
Well, no, he would be doing runs and everything, remember? Yep, see?
Like that.
まず朝起きると日課となっているトレーニングを始める。実質に
See, if that was Sylphie,
魔術の
the weird thing is that he started doing
ザワ
this
が人形作りを教えてくれと
well
噂
after he got teleported and everything, so she did it independently
ただ
of
あまり
him.
はかどっていない。
I guess ultimately body weight exercise is not going to vary very much at all.
ちなみに
But I'm saying he wasn't working out
結構俺の下
when
にある
they
料理が
left.
多い。現代の日本料理には
She started working out on her own accord.
しかし似たようなものが出てくるので個人的には満足だ。
Now he can have chicken nuggets as much as he wants.
エリナリーゼのあれの方は昼は大学、夜は町の方でしっぽりやっているそうだ。昼も夜
Visual
も活動すると
metaphor.
Yeah.
午後には中魔術と進撃魔術、結界魔術の基礎についての授業を受
Do
け
you think at the end of this?
昔
Oh, by the way, it's
結界に
Genie's
ついて
half-ass
ロ
right
キシー
here.
に教えてもらっていた
Oh, yeah.
You think at the end of this he's not gonna actually use any magic to cure his erectile dysfunction, but instead is gonna cure her curse?
I think that sounds right. It's in his ED is like in his head anyway, so like it's a confidence thing.
転移術というもの自体が禁術として指定されているせいか、あまり詳しいことは載っていない。フィッツ先輩が教えてくれた転移の迷宮探索機が一番詳しく載っているかもしれない。
There's that Mr. Fitz.
一日の生活サイクルができ、最近は余裕も出始めた。しかし、夜の暴れん坊将軍は、町火消しの恵みの居候なままで回復の兆しはない。
That's one way to put it, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, nice reintroduction to everything. We have a status quo to break up art now.
Now I'm answering a question now.
Oh?
Remember we had it before? Are we actually getting an opening now?
Yeah, we
So I'm
just
trying
have
to
straight up
figure
distinct
out-
openings.
Well, remember, for the last all bit, we never had openings. We just had transition scenes.
Mhm.
But now I'm trying to remember 3 weeks after the fact if this is the same thing we got last time. And it looks like it is.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I guess I want to say this is because we're going to be spending a lot of time in the same place, so we don't need like more dramatic pullback shots of like the entire area. We know where we are, right?
I mean, don't you say that. To be fair, we could, though.
We totally could if you want to be artsy. Yeah.
Well, no, we could be getting his morning routine. Instead of him describing it, we could get a show don't tell with the music playing and him running around doing those push-ups. The morning routine he literally just told us.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the transition to now having an opening.
But Theta, what does the bird mean?
It kind of feels like, and forgive me, audience member, that they wanted to have an in on like a competition, and we like our show doesn't have an opening. Fucking give it one.
ささ、温めておきました。冷めないうちにお座りください。悪いね。
なかなかノリのいい人のようだ。
調べ物を進んでる？どうでしょうね。その本、転移の？ああ、実は僕の知り合いもあの転移で行方不明になってね。それはその。
It's gonna be a game of how many hints can I give him?
I think maybe she might just be referring to like, oh right, my parents are also gone.
No, she's literally saying
no,
him.
You're right.
Yeah, I was like, what are you talking
You're right.
about? You're as dense as Rudy.
I mean, we clarified that earlier, I think.
何でしょうか。転移事件の調査を僕にも手伝わせてほしいんだ。君は嫌かな。たまに来るだけの相手に口出しされたりするのは。いえいえ、嫌じゃありません。よろしくお願いします。
Yeah, long fingers.
Some people just do.
じゃあ早速だけど、この文献で転移の出現先の傾向とかが分かれば何か役に立つかもと思ってさ。
男相手に。いや、まさかな。
Yes, there we go. The gay panic begins.
It's alright, I've seen that 80s movie before.
And have a Zap Brannigan moment.
もっとも彼は謎が多い。
先輩はどうしてサングラスをつけているんですか？サングラス？ああ、これのこと？ちょっと理由があって言えないんだ。ごめんね。いえ、先輩って寮の何階に住んでるんですか？
The Superman effect.
一応その女子寮の方に寝泊まりしてるんだ。アリエル様の。
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, I just realized she's Clark Kenting pretty hard here.
大丈夫。許可は取ってるし、僕も
I suppose the bodyguard does need to actually be close to the person they're protecting, so.
従者や奴隷と生活することが可能だ。男子生徒という例外が許されているのは、アリエル王女とフィッツ先輩個人が信頼されているのだろう。
先輩って僕とは普通に話していますよね。どういうこと？無口な方って聞いてましたけど。
Again, it's a game of how many hints can I give you before you figure this out.
俺には自分から話しかけてきたように思ったが。
Do you want to take the safe bridge or the danger trot? Oh, it's gotta be so slippery.
And not if it's perfectly controlled.
I mean, I guess you gotta like go clean like the algae off of it every day.
He just mentioned slaves earlier, Griff. Clearly, it's not a problem.
Look, all I know is I've never known a university that would ever clean it.
なぜこの笑顔を見ると胸が高鳴るのだろうか。俺は決してそういう趣味ではないはずなのだが。
僕はアリエル様に用事があるから。
I mean, evidence suggests otherwise.
よろしくお願いします。
謎の多い男、フィッツ先輩。彼が俺に協力的なのもやっぱり謎だった。ただ人神の助言に従って動き、出会った彼と接することで、いつか病
Didn't you almost get beaten to death for being in the women's dorm this late last time?
I think it was a bit darker, maybe, but
彼は変態である。行き過ぎたフィギュアオタクとでも言うのだろうか。
the little bit too far, yeah.
Fantasy real dolls made of stone.
I guess when you're Superman in fantasy world and you got niche.
俺はそんなザノバに対し、もう少し待てと言い続けていた。本来の目的とはかけ離れていたのもあり、きっかけがつかめなかったのだ。
ザノバよ。我が修行は厳しいぞ。
Is this where he starts carving Fitz figures?
Oh gosh.
では、奥義を伝授しよう。はい、師匠。
俺たちの人形制作は始まったばかりだ。
I feel like he could just do it by hand. He is the strongest prince or something, right?
Is he actually trying to do it incantationless? That might actually be the problem here. Oh.
よし、方法を変えよう。
別のやり方があるのですか？
ええ、極力魔力を使わない方向でいきましょう。
それをどうするのですか？
削り出します。
See, like I said, he could just do it by hand. Literally, I just call him this shit before he does it.
最も確実な、しかし難しい方法だ。それなら魔力のないものでも可能なはずだ。
I guess he has been practicing for like a decade. Oh.
希望はいとも簡単に打ち砕かれた。ザノバは手先が器用ではなかったのだ。彼の怪力が邪魔をし、繊細な作業を行うのは難しかった。
Yeah, I was about to say. Surprised he didn't break the thing. Then he broke it.
Out of all the 5 pieces of drama I thought we were gonna get, I didn't think we were gonna get Sonoba breaking down over statues today.
魔術で？はい。こんな感じです。え、何それ？すごい。
Come on, make a cube.
できないや。
I think it's more amazing that she made it disappear. She can destroy matter, Griff.
They've been creating matter out of nowhere. They're already like high tier
Well, I
bad
would
because
argue
of
that they're
me.
probably assembling matter from the air. I think it's more amazing that you just utterly made it vanish completely.
似たような人ですか？うん。自分でやりたいんだけど、能力も技能もないって人がね。その人はどうしていたんですか？奴隷にやらせていたんだ。
See?
その手がありました。
Have someone else do it for you.
That goes along with what I was talking about during the water thing.
Oh no, we're in the go buy a slave arc.
どうしましたか？そういえば僕も暇なんだよね。次のお休み。そうなんですか。先輩も一緒に行きますか？いいの？邪魔にならないかな。いえいえ。アドバイスをもらったお礼に。
And now I want to do a Rudeus versus Edward Ulrich poll. Because it seems like Rudeus can make shit faster than Ed can.
Oh, gosh, there's a... I think Rudeus might actually win the fight, now that I think about it.
Sounds like you had a button there. But it's like, well, that would be the thing, though.
It's complicated. I gotta spend time thinking on it. I could write a story about that.
いや、いいんだよ。です。王族の方がそんなやめてください。では、顔合わせも済んだところで。
We're one step away from the prince meeting the princess.
Oh gosh, you're right. Rudeus here is just to force people to make connections and sway politics. That's the whole goal of Vanguard.
売り場が多いですな。師匠、どうするのですか？
So, I mentioned before that I was having problems with the concept that Elenice might be forced into rape all the time, and now here we are, buying slaves.
On a romantic date.
あんな風になってるんだ。
実に DT らしい反応だ。俺にもああいう頃があった。
And Rudeus has no problems with any of this.
ちょっと別の理由でさ。
ルーデウス君はこういうの慣れてるんだね。先輩も経験を積めば多少は慣れるかと思いますよ。そうかな。っていうか。
See, no problem. No internal monologue problems with it. Convincing others to have no problems with it.
Oh yeah, I forgot dwarves exist too.
ルーデウス君が魔術を教えるなら魔術の使えない幼い子の方がいいと思うよ。なぜですか？無影症魔術って小さい頃の方が覚えやすいんだ。そうなんですか？あと5歳ぐらいから魔術を使い始めると魔力総量が爆発的に増えるんだ。一般的には生まれつき魔力総量は決まっていると聞いていますが。確かに教本にはそう書いてあるけど。
I'm glad we're finally addressing this element of Rudy's backstory. However, I feel like it's undermined by the whole slave auction thing, and especially the character's willingness, in fact, desire to perpetrate it.
They really aren't, like, considering much of anything around here.
No, they are. Literally, Sylvie had a problem, and Rudeus was like, don't worry about it, you'll get used to it when you're older. You know? Like I said, he's perpetrating it. Not even questioning the fact we're buying a child.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of digging that hole I was talking about earlier.
6歳じゃ当然だが文字も読めねえ。
とりあえず会ってみましょうか。
More so, he's actively acting happy about all of this too.
Yes, the
Just
happiest
thinking
place on
about
Earth
how
right
much
here.
I'm just thinking about how much shit people gave like Rising of the Shield Hero for the whole slave trade thing at the very beginning, and he was like actively going into it, like,
To be
you know.
fair, we were also there basically in season 1 back in Renoa, right? With all the Beast Girls.
Yeah. But I don't think it was addressed so directly back then.
And I guess he did very specifically, like, destroy a part of the slave trade on his way back home.
Well, no, he just freed a bunch of people that he cared about.
He kind of dismantled that part of the organization. There's
No,
nobody left there
he literally
perfectly.
just killed a bunch of traitors. That's like, he didn't dismantle the operation.
水砲撃 BPS にrudeus Yorkish Ashadi Effusius Masax boy Dioke Okay.
Oh yeah, that would be too much.
Yeah.
どうしました？
かなり絶望してますね。
It's like she doesn't want to be a slave or something. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's so
師匠は
weird.
そんなものを見たことがあると。
昔何度もね。
懐かしい目だ。
It's very hard
こんな目をし
for you to pull my heartstrings now after how much you've been willing to and endorsed it.
ようこ押してばい。ボシャーや離職はボアエスなよなじゅ。ニューピアイオディテベケス。
Yeah, that's the answer to this problem. If you want, I can kill you.
They can make it quick. Oh, she's happy about it.
俺に彼女の人生を救ってやることはできない。
Come here, puppy.
そりゃ
Oh, don't you
ここで
sleep
彼
around.
女を購入し仕
Oh, this
事を
girl.
与えてやることはできる。けどそれが
Do you want to die, puppy?
俺はよく知っているつもり
Okay.
だ。
Later.
やりたくないものを無理やりやらされても決して救いではない。むしろそれなら終わらせてやった方がいい。
What the fuck happened to the show?
Where are we? Oh, my God.
Yeah, Grip, while you were playing around with your fucking dog, this is what's been happening.
No, I'm still here.
いいだろう。そんなもんだ。それでいい。生きたいじゃなくていい。死にたくないで。とりあえずいい。
Look, you can't ride those One Piece coattails. People that know. I'm assuming it's the majority of people. And now I think
feel
we're
like-
riding the Shield Hero coattails too.
この子の名前は
I feel like the actual context they want to throw at us is that they're just actually adopting a kid.
No,
That's literally
that's
just
not
it.
the context they've given us.
I know, but
We
I feel
didn't
like
enter the
that's where they want to
slave
go
market.
emotionally.
We did not enter the slave market with the I want to adopt a kid.
製鉄のバザルと美しき。あ、そうか。ドワーフは7歳になるまで正式な名前をつけてもらえないんだ。名前がないと不便ですね。僕らでつけてあげるしかないね。女の子だし、可愛い名前にしてあげよう。
Also, we can't even frame this as like indentured servitude. Like, oh no, we sold ourselves into this so we could
ジュリアス
repay a debt or something. Because you don't do that with kids.
はい。かつて世が力加減を誤って殺してしまったかわいそうな弟の名前です。
Cool, let's add that shadow to your backstory.
世はそれ
It
で
just
構い
things
ません
get darker and darker around him all the time. It's fine. It's fine.
よジュリエット。 ジュリエット。
All right, happy little girl is at least nice.
Is it?
ザノバと一緒
Let's
に
just not consider anything else that's probably happened to her in the
I
past.
know. I'm trying to find like the one good thing
これ
here.
から語学と無影小魔術を習うことになった
The one good thing
こうして
would be when she learns magic and eventually tries to get revenge on anybody who's ever hurt her in the past. That would be her Django arc, if you will.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bit to take in there, but
I'm
no,
a little
like
bit
that final
upset
scene is
by
like
all of this.
the final scene is literally the show wants us to consider it. Rudeus has just adopted a kid. That's
No,
it.
That's not the
That's
way.
what they want you to perceive.
No, I don't even think that's right. I don't think you're in the position to tell me what the author of the show or the manga, or the light novel intends.
That's true. I'm just making my supposition and interpretation that that's what the story wants to be.
I don't think that you lead up walking through a slave auction, telling somebody else, oh, you'll get used to it, this is fine, smiling and laughing as you look at the people who, by the way, are not moving and don't seem like they're not moving of their own accord.
Mhm.
Like, you don't keep people in chains when they want to be there. So,
yeah.
you don't lead it from that into the whole, oh, I'm adopting a kid. This is fun. I'm having fun. Look, this is not good.
I am not going to go on the pretense that we're going to get the John Brown anime, all right? I know we're not going there,
Why not? It's taken everything else so seriously up until now. That's why I lampshaded the whole maybe Elenice is being raped by a god in this scenario thing, because it was such a dark turn.
Oh, look, we'll be spending more time on this.
Because it was such a dark turn as compared to all the other dark turns in the show, which were personal but self-inflicted elements. And this is
now
suddenly...
we're just on societal evil, honestly, is where we're at.
Well, I mean, as you pointed out before, we've had this in the background the whole time, and we just never addressed it.
It hasn't been taken front and center with the main character actively becoming a participant, right?
Yeah,
in fact, like I said earlier on, we had a point where he literally freed a bunch of people who were going to be into this institution.
Right, but he wasn't doing that because they were slaves. He was doing that because he cared about them. He never went out of his way.
That's the same difference, man.
That is not the same difference.
I think you don't want the people you care about to become slaves. I think that's a reasonable statement and line of thought.
Yeah, but he didn't go out of his way to save anybody because they were slaves. He's never gone out of his way to find a slave or see a slave and freed them. He only freed someone because he cared about them. That is not the same line of thought.
Oh, gosh.
Rudy could walk past a plantation and not give a shit. Rudy could walk past a plantation with Sylphie on it and then free those slaves because he cares about Sylphie. Those two lines of dialogue, or 2 lines of action, are completely separate from one another.
I guess I'm going to ultimately just have to put a pin on, like, one of the evils of the show, unfortunately, and then say, well, at least the rest of it's doing pretty okay. Maybe they'll come back to this. Maybe they'll make a statement on what is happening in particular. I don't know. I can only hope. What about the rest of it, Theta?
I don't know. I just figured you, the anarchist in the room, would have such a much harsher take than me, the law and order guy. You think the law and order guy would be, yeah, this is fine. No, this is horrible, and I have so many thoughts and negative feelings for it. And you,
I know, that's the thing. I'm on the same page. Of course,
you, the anarchy personal freedom guy, is trying to reason this out. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I told you, I'm waiting on the John Brown anime. I'm waiting for the main character who pops up and goes, wait a second, no, this whole world is wrong and terrible, and I'm gonna fix it. It's just not happening. I
Well,
just don't foresee it happening.
That's what I was
I'm
implying by
moderating my
the.
expectations.
That's what I was implying by the Django turn.
Yeah. Oh gosh, they're teaching her like incantationless magic. Yeah, she could just become a massive threat out of nowhere. That'd be fun.
Oh, now you're calling her a threat.
It would obviously be portrayed that way in the show, given the way it's going. Oh god, there's no winning. I think we can't win, Theta. We lost. We already lost.
Oh no, I'm already imagining what the comment response to this is going to be. It's going to be right up there with Vinland Saga with my unhealthy expectations for a 6-year-old.
If you support slavery, write down in the comments below, and then immediately delete that comment.
No, if you support slavery, get the fuck out. We don't need you.
Yeah.
I could lose what's our current subscriber count? Some like 1,440 or something like that. I could lose 1,440 slave-owning subscribers, or people who support that. I go back down
that
to
was
zero.
100% of our demographic. I didn't know. Did you?
I could go back down to zero, start all over again if that's the repertoire of people we've built up around us.
Yeah.
Fuck
right,
you,
well,
get out of our comment section.
Well, now that we've insulted every viewer possible, I think this is probably a good point to go ahead and wrap up for the day. This has been Stoneface Reactions, everybody. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we'll catch you next time. See you around. Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?